Welcome to Brussels. It's the final city on this Eurail trip that I've been on for the last few weeks. If you're just joining me on this trip, I started in Vienna, then went to Bratislava and Prague before crossing into Germany and spending a few days in Nuremberg. Now I'm in Brussels for a few days to enjoy all of the beer, fries, and chocolate that I can. This is the only city on this trip that I have been to before. However, it was a very brief trip, and this was a good place to spend some time before I hop on the Eurostar in a few days to finish in London. Good morning from Brussels. Oh, I can see my breath. Definitely getting chillier as we move forward. I have actually been to Brussels before, but I was here for 2 hours. All I did was eat mussels and fries, and then I got on the wrong train and left. So this is really my first time here. I'm gonna eat. I'm actually going on a food tour this afternoon that I'm super excited about. It's all about fries, chocolate, and beer. I mean, what else do you need in this life? But first, let's explore the city. Let's get to know the downtown area. And I'm starting with what for me is what Brussels is known for, and that is being the capital of Europe. That's the European Parliament, so that's where we're headed. Let's go. There are actually European Parliament offices in Brussels, Strasbourg, and Luxembourg. Here in Brussels, you can go inside the Parliamentarium, which is the visitor center of the European Parliament. But it's more than just a visitor center. Entry is free, and when you check in at the front desk, they ask you what language you'd like your audio guide in. They have audio guides available in every single language that is spoken within the EU. It's an incredibly interactive and very educational museum. If you want to learn more about what actually goes on within the Parliament here, as well as about the history of the EU and its beginnings, I highly recommend a visit. After visiting the museum, I hopped on the bus and headed to the Royal Palace. Belgium is a constitutional, hereditary, and popular monarchy, and they are the head of state in Belgium. The Royal Palace in the center of Brussels is not the actual residence of the royal family. They live in the Royal Palace of Laeken in northern Brussels. During the summer months, you can go inside the palace, but while I was visiting, it was already closed to visitors. It is, however, well worth visiting, and also on warmer days, taking a walk through Brussels Park, which is directly across from the palace. From the Royal Palace, it's a nice walk to explore some of the city centre. I walked to Place Royale, where you can find the Church of Saint Jacques sur Coudenberg, as well as several museums in stunning buildings. Then it was over to Mont Garden, which is home to the Royal Library of Belgium, as well as this clock. At this point in the morning, I was feeling pretty cold and in need of a little pick-me-up, so I wandered in search of a cute cafe and found Gruun, a cafe that also happens to be a garden center. The coffee was outstanding, and the setting was pretty lovely as well. After warming up with a coffee, I headed back out to explore more of Brussels. My next stop was perhaps one of the most unusually famous sights to see in Brussels, Manneken Pis. This little statue has over 900 different outfits from around the world, which you can see inside the Manneken Pis Museum just up the street from the fountain. And don't worry, there's plenty of equality in Brussels because there is a little girl statue too, Jeanneke-Pis, located a few blocks away from the little boy. She doesn't seem to have the wardrobe he does, though. From here, I walked to and through the city's most prestigious shopping gallery, the Royal Gallery of St. Hubert. Since it was first built, and still today, you must be approved by a group of board members as to whether or not your store will be suitable before you can open a shop inside this galleria. There's no Zara's or H&M's here. Eventually, I made my way to the ornate and magical Grand Place. The main square here in Brussels, which is home to the town hall, which has been in this location since the 13th century, as well as guild houses that are all more ornate than their neighbors. It's a busy and touristy spot, and also where I start my tour. I booked this beer, chocolate, and fries tour through Get Your Guide, who are also the sponsors of today's video. Get Your Guide is a great place to find cool walking tours, food tours, history tours, awesome tour guides, and even skip the line tickets. I was so excited to learn more about these 3 things that I love in a city that does them very well. Get Your Guide have a ton of tours to choose from when it comes to sampling these different delights. But this one focuses a little bit more on beer and the history of Belgian beer than the others, while still offering fun stops for locally made chocolate and the best fries in the city. We ate tons of delicious chocolate, including the Queen's favorite with a walnut on top, drank amazing Belgian beer in historical pubs with a tour guide who is both knowledgeable and passionate about beer, and we finished with fries that have been fried in beef fat and served with truffle mayonnaise. I went to bed a very full and happy gal. I will link below to the tour information so that you can book it for yourself. The next morning, I hopped on the subway and made my way to another famous monument in Brussels, Atomium. Designed for the 1958 Brussels World Fair, this structure represents an iron atom and is now a museum that you can visit. It's a strange thing to see up close, but it was a symbol of optimism as the world came together for the first World Fair after World War II. There's a mixture of historical information and unique art exhibits inside, and the views are pretty spectacular too. Next door you have the Mini Europe Museum, which is much like the Miniature Museum in Hamburg. You can catch a glimpse of it from inside Atomium if you don't want to pay extra for the ticket. Last day in Brussels, and it's pouring with rain. My feet are almost a little bit wet. We've got one more thing to do before we get on the train. Gotta have some fries. Sos andaluz. Oh, crispy. So good. On this rainy note, it's time to go. I hope you guys enjoyed exploring Brussels with me. I hope that you have better weather if you are coming here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.